What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dave Steals the Show. So Samsung finally had their Galaxy S9 unveiling. It happened a week ago, and they had a lot of things to talk about on their phone. But before we get into it, I wanted to talk about the event itself. Man, there was so many awkward moments throughout that thing. I was almost uncomfortable for the speakers. They would tell like what they thought was gonna be a joke of some sort. Crickets, silence. It was an awkward event. It went from speaker to speaker, and it just doesn't have the momentum or the oomph of like an Apple unveiling event. And that's typically something they struggle with year after year. I watch the events every year. I watch all the events so that I can get all the info, so that I can share it with you guys. And this one was just no different. Super awkward, super, I don't know how to say it. I'm embarrassed for the people when they're talking. Now, they're giving some great information, but it just seems, I don't know if it's the timing of it all or what it is, but it just seems like it's off. And so that's what I'll say about the event. Super awkward. Most of the big YouTubers already have their phones in hand, and they're already starting to put it through its paces. For the regular general Joe public, we're gonna have to wait until March 16th to be able to get our hands on one. And so I'm waiting. In the meantime, I've been watching the videos that the big YouTubers are putting out, kind of seeing what their first impressions and thoughts are. And I can already tell you I'm gonna get it, but I may not be holding on to it very long. The camera, as they call it, reimagined. Let's get into the camera a little bit and tell you a little bit about what you can expect with this camera. So the first thing we can say about this dual aperture camera is that it comes in f2.4 and f1.5, and they say it happens automatically based on the ambient light, and they say it happens as quick as the human eye can focus. That's how quick it'll determine which aperture is best for the photo. I don't know until I get it in my hands and test it out if that's true or not. I could tell you that I saw a picture that was put out by Marques Brownlee, MKBHD, and besides the improved bokeh effect in the background, I really couldn't tell the difference in lighting. And it's supposed to be a big difference. When the aperture opens up that big to 1.5, you should be able to get a lot more light. The picture should look brighter, and it didn't to me. I also watched a video by Moment, the people at Moment Lenses, and they have a video that compares the camera on the S9 to the Pixel 2 XL and the iPhone X. And I can tell you the Pixel 2 XL is still the reigning champion. I could tell by the pictures that they were posting side by side, the look of the Pixel 2 XL is unmatched. Now, it did blow away the iPhone X camera. So the Galaxy S9 camera was putting out much, much better pictures than the iPhone X. And so if you're looking to make a decision between those two phones because of the camera, then the S9 is the way to go. However, if you want the best camera, then the Pixel 2 XL is still the reigning champion. The Infinity Edge display, they said they made it slightly brighter. I'll see it when I get it, but I mean, the Infinity Edge display is just gorgeous to begin with. No one does a display like Samsung. It really is incredible to see that display. I can't wait to get my hands on it. The new camera is supposed to have a DRAM chip, and it's supposed to be able to process 4 times as much data as the S8 was able to, and we'll see if it makes that big of an impact on the images that it takes. One of the biggest features that they talk about on this camera is its ability to do super slow-mo, 960 frames per second at 720p. That's unheard of. The challenge that people are having, from what I understand with this super slow-mo, is that it's really difficult to time it. It only captures 0.2 seconds of footage because it's just so slow, and so timing it is really difficult. One of the cool features though, you can tap on the screen where you want the super slow-mo to start or to be captured, and when something enters that part of the screen, it starts recording the slow motion, and so that's kind of cool. That's a cool feature. Live focus allows for manual adjustment of the bokeh effect or the blur in the background, and you are able to do it before or after you take the photo, which is kind of cool. And one of the gimmicky things that they introduced was the ability to do an emoji, or what they call AR emoji, and it converts your whole face and actual body into almost like an avatar. When they demonstrated it at the unveiling, it was super weak. It was horrible. I don't know if I would have introduced it so soon. The guy that was using it was actually saying words, but the mouth of the emoji was kind of just like, I was just kind of opening up and down, and it wasn't really moving to the words. I think Apple did a much better job with the Animoji than Samsung did. It's complete garbage. I don't know that I would have introduced it at all looking like that. Plus the caricature that it makes of you is really not all that close. You have to kind of manipulate it a little bit. You can personalize it, but even when you do, I don't think it really gets to something that looks like you. So it's not something like Bitmoji or anything else, anything like that. So if that's what you're expecting, that's not really what it's going to be. They did partner with Disney, so you can get like a Mickey or Minnie, or I think the Incredibles emojis now as well. So that's available, so that's different, and that's kind of interesting. And the last thing that they introduced is having the ability to use the phone's camera to take a picture of food, and in conjunction with Bixby, have it find information on that food, like caloric information, and then send it over to S Health, Samsung's S Health. And while we're talking about Samsung apps, they also mentioned Samsung Pay, which I'm not sure why they continue to push that. I mean, I think we all know that Google Pay is really going to dominate, and so is Apple Pay. So if you're on either ecosystem, those are going to be the ways to pay. So they're trying to introduce they're trying to keep pushing their Samsung Pay. But anytime I've tried to use Samsung Pay, it hasn't been as widely accepted as Google Pay. And so I typically just reach for Google Pay now. They did keep the headphone jack for all you headphone jack lovers. Which I know there was a lot of applause for that. The phone is going to be available in 4 different colors. It's going to be available in the coral blue, gray, the black, and they have a new lilac purple. So that's new and different. If you're into colors, you should check that one out. For pricing, you're gonna have to get with your local carrier, because I saw the pricing was kind of all over the place. There's a difference between the S9 Plus and the S9. The camera is different. There's a dual lens in the S9 Plus, and the S9 has a regular camera. And I think more and more manufacturers are trying to push the audience to the larger phone if you want all the bells and whistles. But there is an audience of people who like the smaller form factor, and so they get cheated out every time that they release 2 phones, a bigger one and a small one. But I guess every manufacturer in their own way is trying to push the audience to that larger phone. They did finally introduce stereo speakers on the new Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. They are AKG tuned stereo speakers. I'm looking forward to listening to what type of sound comes out of these speakers. Now, they also marketed it as Dolby Atmos sound. I think that's going a bit far. You can't do Dolby Atmos with cell phone speakers. If you're an audiophile out there and you're watching this video, tell everybody, please, right? You can't do it unless you can somehow manage to defy the laws of physics. And that's basically what I know on the S9 and the S9 Plus. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I have it. We'll do an unboxing, we'll put it through its paces, and then I'll give you my first impressions of the phone. So I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for staying with me, and I will see you all at the very next episode.